I want you to chime in with this. If you're starting out a business, okay, what would you be buying first? And let's assume that you have a vehicle, right? And let's assume that you have 3 tools that you need: mower, line trimmer, blower. You have those 3 things, okay? What are you buying after that?
I got a good answer to this. Anyone who's from this industry who's had a call with me probably hear this. I'm buying a really good pair of secateurs.
Yep.
A silky handsaw, a folding one. Yep. Falcos. I'm buying a silky Gomboy folding handsaw specifically.
Hold on a second. You keep talking.
or a Zubat. And I'm going to buy a Japanese, and the third thing would be a Japanese weeding sickle.
A weeding sickle? I don't have one of those. Yes. I've let you down.
The reason is because those 3 tools, basically once you buy them, don't require any maintenance apart from giving them a wipe down. And you can charge the same hourly rate as you would with doing bush mowing. You can charge $100 an hour with those, doing trimming, cleanups, weeding. And every house that you service already needs those services.
Yes.
If you added 1 tool to that, it would be a nice pair of hand shears if you didn't have electric shears.
If I'm starting out a business, I love that mentality of like, what's the cheapest tool you can get that's going to help you out. And I think good quality folding saws are underrated. I think reciprocating saws are underrated in the industry. If I'm starting out again, right, and you go, do you want a chainsaw or a reciprocating saw? 9 times out of 10, I'm going reciprocating saw because it can do what mostly a chainsaw could do. It's slower, but it can do more things, right? It can cut my irrigation pipe with a different blade. It can cut roots. I can change the blade. I don't need oil. I can fit it in a much smaller area. Blades are $6 each. I don't need to sharpen my chain. It's safer. I can use it one-handed. There's lots of different benefits to it. There's negatives, but I'm buying that one first. But where I'd be going in this conversation is, do you know what I would do? I would buy, here's some books I would buy. I would buy Profit First.
Yeah.
I would buy Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, which is a negotiation book, a communication book. I would buy, I'm not kidding on this, I'm not being facetious on this, I would buy marriage books and I would buy parenting books. Why? Because you are going to have stress in your life running a business and it is going to strain the other parts of your life. And you want to be healthy in those areas. That's why most people start at them. And let's not assume that's going to happen for free. I would not be against getting coaching for those areas of my life, specifically communication, marriage communication, business communication, those sorts of things. And they feel ethereal and they don't feel tactile and real, but you'll be surprised at the value that they have going forward. You'll be surprised. With Never Split the Difference, there's a service called what's it called? Mastermind, or anyway, it's a course business. It used to be advertised all the time on Facebook and things like that. And
I've done one of their courses.
Yeah, it's $200 something a year or something like that, and it gives you access to a bunch of these courses. And I purchased it just to buy the Chris Voss thing, and I'd listened to a lot of his podcasts. I'd listened to his audiobook, and I still went and got the course because these were things that I wanted to nail. And I have done negotiations that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars because that's what contracts are in this industry. And I think those communication skills have earned me tens of thousands of more than I would have. And if you could have them from day one, fantastic. If you could have a healthy marriage, how would that support your business? If you had a healthy business, how would that support your marriage? And this might seem self-serving, but it is 100% true. If I was starting my business, I would buy my own business course, hypothetically, because that's how I made it. And then it would come a point in time where I would go and get a business coach. And if it was Darren or Tom or anybody else, it doesn't have to, we're not self-serving in that aspect. But But that's genuinely what I would do. And I would, like you say, I'd forgo the ride-on lawnmower for a short period of time to work on those skills, because if I get those skills right, I'll be able to afford the ride-on lawnmower, whereas some people out there will buy the ride-on lawnmower, not get the work it needs, and in 3 months' time sell it, maybe 9 months, a year, sell it for $5,000 less than they purchased it for, lose the $5,000 and realise maybe you should have spent that $5,000 on negotiating, and all the other stuff we just talked about. It's a different way of thinking, but I'm genuinely serious when I talk about that sort of stuff, whether it was us or someone else. You go.
No, I love it. I absolutely love the book recommendations. Like in this industry, that's one thing that I miss now that I'm not actively gardening, is listen to audiobooks. Yep. It's something I miss. 2 additional ones I would add to your list are Clockwork by Mike Michalowicz. Is an amazing book that gets you in the right frame of mind for building systems, and Built to Sell. So that refers right back to our discussion around, making sure that you have plans in place if you get injured or you can't do it again. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing book to give you in the right mindset. But I'm 100%, if I had to restart right now in the industry or in another industry, I would 100% be getting a mentor or a coach straight away and doing as many relevant courses as possible. The courses that you're talking about, I actually have done 2 in the last couple of months. One was called Conversational Capacity, and the other one was called The Influential Communicator, both of which are right down that line of thinking, and they are worth their weight in gold. Help you just with normal communication with your customers, negotiation, speaking and managing employees, which is another critical part of this industry, that once you start getting employees, you need to learn those skills. Otherwise, you're going to have churn, like we're seeing in the group in LMCA all the time, people struggling to find good employees. Those skills just help you out throughout your entire life, and also in personal life as well.
If you get to that next stage, because those things I was talking about, that's day one. Like day one, I'm working on those things. If I'm going to the next stage and I want to take on employees, I wouldn't be doing that without, if I was restarting my business, I would not be hiring employees without taking on Darren. Darren is my experience with, but somebody else who's a coaching you might have experience with. And the reason is that Darren is somebody who has run a business with 70, 80 staff, and he had done a lot more hiring than I had. And the third time around, when I tried to grow my business, when my health was going downhill, Darren came to some of the interviews that I did. And I'd recommend that if someone was working with you, Tom, and I don't know if it was physically possible or something you were offering, how valuable is it as a business owner who's never hired before to have somebody in the room with you, right? And let's say it costs you, I'm going to throw out a huge number. Let's say you go to multiple rounds of interviews, and you've got to get your coach with you a lot, and it's $2,000-$3,000. That person, you're going to be paying them $70, $80, $90, $100, $120,000 a year. Why wouldn't you spend the money? And again, it's one of those things where it's like that amount of money in the coaching. Yeah, it's like, I'm paying them extra amount of $100 an hour. It's I don't know. No, man, that experience is so valuable. To have a second set of eyes, to have somebody, I would ask a question, Darren would follow up with the question, and it is so much more helpful than what you realise. 100%.
I've sat in vendor negotiations. I've sat in when a client was hiring a vendor. I've sat in on phone interviews, a couple of in-person ones. And it's extremely valuable for businesses to have someone just on their side. And it's often the case of you don't know what you don't know. And having that experience of the person next to you that may not have gone through the same path, but they have business experience, can help in that realm. And that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be a coach either. Maybe you've got a partner or a family member that's also run businesses that can sit in with you, or maybe just a friend or a mentor. But just having additional experience in those situations is super beneficial for sure.